Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Tackle Tuesday video. As always, Tackle Tuesdays are sponsored by Fish Gum. He just posted a recent video just yesterday about catching a giant fish on a little 4-foot runt rod. He posts a lot of cool stuff like that. If y'all want to see that video and all the other awesome stuff he posts, I'm going to have his channel linked down below. Make sure you go check him out. Make sure you hit up my website where you can buy some Fish Gum. The bait, I got it in stock right now. Pretty much all the flavors are in stock on my website, also linked down below. Make sure you check those out. Thank you for sponsoring this video. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Alright guys, today's Tackle Tuesday is going to be all about targeting these big whiting here in the fall and the winter months on the Gulf Coast. As we start to transition into this period, surf fishing can be a little tricky. We usually have a bit of a fall pompano run. It's been a little weird this fall. We've had some storms and we've had some warmer weather that went later into the year than usual. And so we've had a few pompano here and there, but we've not had like a good solid pompano run. We did just have a cold front this past weekend that moved through, cooled those water temps down. I thought it was going to get things fired off, but it would also put us right in a neap tide, and so things have not really been that good. I went out this morning, we did catch one keeper, but that's not really typical for how this fall pompano run usually works. And so I'm hoping maybe once we get past this neap tide and still have some cooler temps, maybe by this weekend, maybe we'll be able to get into some nice pompano bites. But as we transition into that cooler months and everything kind of starts dying off, the main target species that we're going to have in the surf is going to be whiting. And as these whiting move into the surf zone, we do tend to get a lot of really big ones in the surf. And so that's what we're going to talk about, is how we're going to target these fish and how we're going to try to capitalize on the opportunity that we have, losing out on a lot of these other fish that are going to move along throughout the cooler months. So let's go ahead and talk about the first thing. That's going to be the setup. So the setup that I'd like to use when I'm targeting these whiting, I just got a Penn Pursuit 3. This is a 3000. I have 20-pound braid on here, but you can certainly get away with 10-pound. I just like to be able to move this reel from different rods depending on what exactly I'm going after, so I did go ahead and load it with 20-pound. And then I got it paired up with the Ugly Stik GX2. So this Ugly Stik, this is a 9-foot. It is a super light rod. It is a medium action. And I know a lot of y'all have seen Bama Beach Bum, and he talks about using those still head rods for whiting. This is basically the same kind of thing. It's super light, so when you're targeting these smaller fish or even the big whiting that come in, but targeting these, you really get a full fun fight out of these fish, even when they are on the smaller side, having this rod here. So I really love using this rod when I'm going after these whiting. It just makes it a blast trying to catch these fish. Now, as for the rig that you're going to want to use when targeting these fish, I like to do a single drop. As you see here, I just got one drop on here, and I got 10-pound fluorocarbon, and I just do one bead. And I ran out of the other hooks I had, but I usually like to use a size 4 circle hook. This is, I believe, maybe a size 2 Kell hook. Also worked good on this trip today. We still did catch a lot of whiting. But you want to go with a smaller size hook, definitely in a circle hook, or a Kell hook is fine as well. And then I just use a single bead. Doesn't really matter the color. I'll switch between orange and pink and purple. And then I just tie in a dropper to tie my weight on there. Now using this real light line is going to make sure these fish are not going to be able to see it. Sometimes if you bump up to like a 20-pound mono, the fish will be able to see that line and you're not going to get the bite. Usually for the bigger fish, you can still catch some smaller whiting, but when you start getting into that like 15 to 17 inch range on the whiting, usually they're pretty picky, and you go a little lighter on the line, you're going to be able to get more of those bites. And so when I'm targeting these fish on this dropper, I like to just use fresh dead shrimp. The freshest you can get, the better. If you get frozen shrimp, sometimes they'll kind of turn away from that. And if the local tackle store does not have fresh dead shrimp, you can even get away with a little bit of Fish Gum or even some fish bites. Just cut off a little piece, put it on there. You can usually catch some good bit of whiting on that, and you don't have to burn through the bait as much. If you cut off a little piece of Fish Gum, put it on here, you may be able to catch 5 or 10 fish on it before you even have to put on another piece of bait. So that can be a good option as well. And if you're going to run more than one rod, I would definitely recommend doing that. Like if you want to run 2 or 3, You could throw out a rod with just fresh dead shrimp. You could throw out a rod with some fish gum. If you're running 3, throw out a rod with some fish bites. Kind of bounce those around in the area and you'll be able to see what the fish are hitting on that day, because it definitely varies day by day what the fish are going to be hitting, whether they want the shrimp or they like fish gum or fish bites. So the more options you can have, the better chance you're going to have at finding these bigger fish. Alright, lastly we're going to talk about the way we're going to find these fish when we get out to the beach. So when you first walk out on the beach, it is best to be able to read the beach, look out, kind of figure out what the beach is like that day, if there's any structure or anything like that as far as sandbars, the rips, any deep troughs and stuff like that. A lot of times these whiting are going to be close in and they're going to be in the deeper water. So you want to look, the sandbar is going to be out where you can see the waves breaking, and then usually in front of that there's a nice deep trough. You're going to be able to see that by a darker colored water. And so if you can pick out those deeper troughs, usually the whiting will be hanging out like in there. They're not like pomping over there just cruising up and down the beach. They're usually holding in one spot. So if you're going out there specifically targeting whiting, the best thing to do is just start down the beach. Once you find a nice deep hole, you can just throw out one rod with some shrimp, maybe bounce it around in 2 or 3 spots. If you're not getting hit pretty quick, there's probably not any whiting in there. So you can go ahead and move down the beach, find the next hole, throw around in there, and eventually you're going to find a spot that's going to hold a lot of whiting. Because usually if they're there, you're going to get hit almost instantly. I mean, if you're not getting a bite within 5 minutes, they're probably not there. So you can go ahead and move on to the next spot. So that's kind of the best way to be able to bounce around, target these fish, try to find the big ones. You will definitely still have to wean through some of the smaller fish. So if you are getting smaller ones, don't worry about that. Just keep throwing out there. You're going to be able to find those bigger fish. So being able to bounce from pocket to pocket is really going to help increase your odds on finding these big whiting. Alright guys, I hope that helps y'all out when y'all go out surf fishing this fall and this winter, being able to target these big whiting that we're going to have up in the surf zone. If you have any other questions about targeting them, make sure you comment down below, let me know. Also let me know if you have any other questions or recommendations as far as the Tackle Tuesday, anything you want to see or anything you're not really sure about, and I'll definitely try to make a video on that for you. If you're not subscribed, make sure you do so now. Trying to hit 20,000, and you don't want to miss any of these Tackle Tuesdays we got, as well as any other videos. We're about to go to South Florida next week. Gotta try to get on my first snook, first peacock bass, and many others. It's gonna be a lot of firsts for me while we're down there. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of those videos. But I appreciate y'all watching this, and until next time, y'all take care.